Dear learners, today we are going to see the Unit 4 Underwater Environment under Environmental Physiology, the paper code PEN 18CT 301 under the program MSc Exercise Physiology and Nutrition. The learning objectives are to understand underwater ecosystem, underwater pressure, scuba diving, effect of high pressure, nitrogen narcosis, acute oxygen poisoning, and chronic oxygen poisoning. The underwater environment refers to the region below the surface of immersed in liquid water in a natural or artificial features such as an ocean, sea, lake, pond, reservoir, river, canal, or aquifer. Now, the general characteristics of underwater environment. There are two regions, namely benthic and pelagic. The benthic again divides into sublittoral, bathyl, abyssal, and hadal. The pelagic again divides into epipelagic, mesopelagic, bathyl pelagic, and abyssal pelagic. Now, there are two regions based on the sun rays which falls. That means the light which goes inside the water deeper up to 200 meter is called as photic, and from 200 meters to 10,000 meters and beyond is said to be aphotic. So photic means light zones and aphotic means without light. This is dark zone. Underwater pressure. The underwater pressure is due to increase in hydrostatic pressure, the force per unit area exerted by a liquid or an object. The deeper we go under the water or the sea, the greater the pressure of the water pushing down on us. For every 33 feet, that is 10.06 meters, if we go down, the pressure increases by 1 atmosphere. Scuba diving. Scuba diving is a mode of underwater diving where the diver uses a self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, that is scuba, which is completely independent of surface supply to breathe underwater. This is the apparatus of scuba where it has got breathing hose. This is called breathing hose, and this is a mouth piece. Then it is a cylinder valve with regulator, and this is a harness, then the back plate, then this is a cylinder. This is scuba cylinder, one cylinder, and when we see in this picture, there are two cylinders attached. Again the valve, first stage of valve, when it is open, the air goes to the hose, and there is a demand valve along with the mask, and that will be inhaled by the scuba diver. So it can be a single cylinder or it can be in double cylinders. Based upon the diver who is going to remain inside the water for how many hours he is going to remain inside the water, thereby he may use two cylinders or a single cylinder. Now coming to the effect of high partial pressure. Nitrogen narcossis. When the diver remains beneath the sea for an hour or more and is breathing compressed air, the depth at which the first symptoms of mild narcosis appear is about 120 feet, begins to exhibit cheerfulness and to lose many of his or her cares. At 150 to 200 feet, the diver becomes drowsy. At 200 to 250 feet, his or her strength decreases significantly, and the diver often becomes too clumsy to perform the work required. Beyond 250 feet, that is 8.5 atmospheric pressure, the diver usually becomes almost useless as a result of nitrogen narcosis if he or she remains at this depth too long. Acute oxygen poisoning. The extremely high tissue partial pressure of oxygen that occurs when oxygen is breathed at very high alveolar oxygen pressure can be harmful to many of the body's tissue. So, breathing oxygen at 4 atmospheres pressure of oxygen, that is partial pressure of oxygen equal to 3040 mmHg, will cause brain seizures followed by coma in most people within 30 to 60 minutes. The seizures often occur without warning and likely to be deadly to divers submerged beneath the sea. Chronic oxygen poisoning. Even after about 12 hours of only 1 atmosphere oxygen exposure, the lung passageway congestion, pulmonary edema, and atelectasis caused by damage to the lining of the bronchi and alveoli begin to develop. The air spaces of the lungs are directly exposed to the high oxygen pressure. Oxygen is delivered to the other body tissues at almost normal partial pressure of oxygen because of the hemoglobin oxygen buffer system. Thank you, learners. I hope you have understood about the underwater environment, that is physiological environment which is happening underwater when diver goes under the water, how long he can stay and how far he will breathe and how he will utilize the scuba cylinder along with the scuba cylinders. Thank you very much for your understanding.